Oh, Peter's particular how you handle these fish, and well, he should be, isn't he?
Yeah.
Jerry McInnes has been taking America fishing for over 20 years. Let's join him for a visit to this week's fishing hole. Brought to you by Eagle Claw. When you buy Eagle Claw fishing tackle, you get quality. Mercury Outboards, a fishing legend. Put the legend behind you. DuPont, maker of Strand and new ultra-sensitive co-filament prime fishing line. Ranger Boats, we still build them one boat at a time. Steel, the world's largest selling chainsaw. With Steel, we're talking tough. Winnebago, the original and still the best. Be sure it's a Winnebago. By Humminbird, the ultimate in fish finding technique. Overcast 15, the only sunscreen formulated especially for fishermen. Magic Bait, a real catfish bait, not a gimmick.
Hey, Jerry McInnes here, and what a fishing trip we have for you today. My goodness, we're going to British Columbia, do a little salmon fishing, a little trout fishing. When I was up there, I brought home some smoked salmon. Well, matter of fact, we've been smoking fish of all kinds ourselves, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. But before I do that, I wanted to tell you that we took some of this salmon, and I say we, my wife did actually, and made a fantastic dip for it, and I'm crazy about chips and a real good dip. I've got this on peppers right here, and this is salmon dip. It is made with cream cheese, a little bit of sour cream, some bacon fried and crunched up in there. And matter of fact, Debbie put a little bit of the grease to add some seasoning and flavor. She put that in there too, and then crumbled up some smoked salmon and mixed it all together. And what a fantastic dip this makes. I can't tell you just how great this is. I'll probably eat every bit of that all by myself, and I know I shouldn't do that. For lack of a better name, I'm calling this Dunkin' dip, because I call old Debbie Dunkin' about half the time. So some salmon Dunkin' dip today and some fantastic trout fishing. Oh my goodness, Forrest Wood is going with me to British Columbia. Let's take a little bit of break right here. I'm going to head down by the lake, lean up a tree, and eat a little bit of salmon dip and get ready for some great trout fishing. I don't know just how much experience you've had with steelhead fishing. I haven't had an awful lot myself. I have had enough to rank a steelhead as one of my all-time favorite fish. I talk about them all the time. And I know that, they're not available to everyone all across the country. They're just on the coastal areas in the Great Lakes. They have to have some cold streams, and then they have to have some big water to go to from their cold streams. Today we're going to British Columbia to do some steelhead fishing. Some of the best, well, maybe the best I have ever done. Now that's Peter Barrett. They're helping me land this big steelhead, probably 8, 9 pound, well, 7, 8 pound fish. And Peter Barrett is a helicopter pilot. Now, why I would need a helicopter pilot, I'll explain to you a little bit later on. Oh, we have a wild fishing trip for you. It's getting more interesting all the time, isn't it? That is a great fish, though. We're going to spend a lot of time chasing him today up in British Columbia. Now, the place where we're fishing is called the Nimmo Bay Lodge. Now, we are slipping up into a part of the world I've never been to in my life. And to get there, you can drive up Victoria Island, which is just off of Vancouver. You can get from Vancouver over to the island, go up Highway 19 to Port Hardy. From Port Hardy, you're taken over into the Sullivan Bay area. Back over on the coastline there from Port Hardy, there's all kinds of steelhead fishing, many streams and many, well, it's just one of the famous steelhead fishing areas in the world. It's beautiful too. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Now, we took a float plane from Port Hardy over to Nimmo Bay, which is located in Sullivan Bay, and Craig Murray runs Nimmo Bay Lodge. And this little old lodge is kind of stuck back there in the wilderness, where just half a dozen or so fishermen spend the week chasing not only the steelhead, but the salmon as well, out in the big water. today's story is about stream fishing, but you have to be aware that we are right next to some big water fishing for salmon too. And now the helicopter. In order to get back to these streams and these areas where we're going to steelhead fish, and incidentally we're probably steelhead fishing in waters where no one has ever, well, not many people have done it before because you just can't get there. Well, these folks offer what they call heli fishing. And you take your helicopter and you leave the lodge in the morning and you spend the day going back and forth to one steelhead fishing hole after the other. Forrest Wood from Flippin, Arkansas is along with me. He's well, he loves to trout fish just as much as I do, and well, and this was his first experience with any salmon and steelhead trout. But I'm sure you're going to be able to tell that he gets as big a kick out of it as I do.
You reach them from here, all right?
Yeah, go ahead. It's tough to cast from way back here.
Huh?
It's tough to get your bait back.
Gee whiz, look at him going out of there.
I saw him swim up by here.
Did you?
Yeah. Looks like a coho to me, Forrest, but I don't know. You sure caught him in a pretty place. Oh goodness, he's gone crazy now. He'll probably run down there in that deep, quiet hole.
He's under this rock right here.
Oh, that's steelhead.
Look at him leaving, going down through there.
Look at him try to get around them rocks.
Yeah, he was under one down there a while ago. Completely out of sight.
Boy, there are some nasty rocks in there.
Yeah. He wouldn't go up through there, would he?
I don't think so.
Wow. Is it a steelhead?
I think it is. You just couldn't have caught him in a prettier place. Of course, you haven't caught him, have you?
Oh, I got him.
Yeah, I see you.
They fight dirty, don't they?
Yeah, they really
trying to
do.
crawl on them rocks?
I bet it's over your head over against that bluff.
Yeah, I bet it is too. Boy, there's two big ones, three big ones laying down in there.
He's got a tag on his back.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we've been seeing on some of these fish, I bet, is tags.
That's right. Oh, don't go down there and scare up the other hole, boy. Come on back up here.
You can swing him right in here to me. Huh?
I want to scoot him in here just pretty quick. He's getting tired. I need to be down there a little closer to him, I think. Maybe I can lead him over and you catch him for me?
Yeah, I think I can.
Here he comes, right up there to you.
Comes old Peter back.
Boy, isn't that a pretty thing?
Oh, it's
Man,
beautiful.
alive, what a beautiful fish.
Comes Peter down the alley here. Now then, he says catch him with the tail and do this to him. How about that?
Isn't that a pretty song, huh? Fall about that.
Can you read the numbers on that and we'll give them to somebody?
You see there's 00755. BRA 00755.
Can you take that jig out of him?
Yeah.
You didn't know we was going to do some conservation work, did you?
No. 0700755.
How about that?
How about that? I'll tell you what. Appreciate your help.
Yes, sir.
That's about the most fish in the smallest place I've ever had any dealings with.
There he comes.
There he goes, too. All the way across the pool.
He ain't getting hung that rock on you,
No.
dude.
He just kind of got his feet braced over there.
That didn't look...
That's kind of silver-like.
Yeah, it didn't look like a big steelhead. It looked like a coho.
I'm not particular.
No,
What's
sir.
wrong with cohos?
Hey, I don't know. They sure stretch your string, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Wow. He wants to go upstream, Jerry. Now he wants to go down. Man, they're strong, aren't they?
I'd let him go down.
I'm going to let him go wherever he wants to, I guess. Because my line's not very heavy.
That water ain't clear enough out there, is it?
Ooh, excuse me. I need to come by you here. He's fixing to get awful spooked when he sees me.
I can understand that.
Yeah. I got that hungry look about me, and sometimes they'll follow a fish that's hooked.
Uh-huh.
Particularly bass will do that a lot. My arm's getting a little tired, Jerry. Huh. Come on, big boy.
Oh, look at there. Look at there. Set my rod right behind me here.
That's bigger than the other one, isn't it?
I think so. We're going to catch some more here, too, I think, Forrest. No, he's about the same size as that last one.
The same size. He don't have a tag on him.
No. If you hadn't known that, you wouldn't have caught him,
No,
would
I
you?
probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't. At least
That
really
boy.
isn't that a pretty thing?
That sure
Man
is.
alive. Can't believe he was that stubborn. He made my arm hurt.
Oh, yeah, he's good. Nice going, Forrest.
I'm gonna have to rest him. I don't think I could pull another one in right now. I hate to think he had to hold out, and I didn't know it. There they come. A bunch of them, right? Coming just to right of where I threw there.
Boy, it seemed like for a little while, every time Forrest dropped that little marabou jig in front of one of those steelhead, he was on to it. We probably didn't fish for steelhead much more than a day. They have other fishing up there besides the steelhead fishing, and we got very interested in the salmon fishing as well. But you're looking at the steelhead fishing that we did do. We were fishing with spinning equipment, 6 and 8 pound test line. You know, I tried to fish with even lighter stuff than that, and boy, they kept tearing me up. These were just wild fish. The water is very shallow and clear. You have to be very careful and not get up too close to them and scare them right off the bat. There is some fly fishing available up there too, but we found that throwing the lighter line and the little tiny 1/8 ounce white and black jigs worked a little bit better for us. Now these fish are all averaging probably 8 to 10 pounds. Now I want you to have the same opportunity to go up there and fish that we had, and here's Craig Murray's address where you can get more information on this type of fishing. And remember now, they do have salmon fishing out where we saw the lodge a little bit ago, the small lodge back there in the bay. They do have big water fishing for all kinds of salmon, and we're going to do some on the stream as well. We're up there in the fall at the time of year where the salmon would be coming into the streams, and that seems to make the steelhead fishing a little bit better because the steelhead come back there, get involved in the activity looking for those salmon eggs, and everybody's back there. Even Forrest Wood and myself are back there. Forrest is, as you know, is the man from Ranger Boat Company, is a famous bass fisherman, but actually really got started trout fishing on the White River, so he's pretty familiar with these trout. And a steelhead, I guess, isn't much more than just a fancy trout that spends a lot of time out in the ocean. Peter Baird, of course, was taking us from one hole to the other by helicopter, and that is just a pretty convenient way to fish. I've never seen anything quite like it. I want you to just look at some of the beautiful places back in here. that we were able to go to. Actually, when you would land the helicopter, of course, you would walk up and down the creek or the river one way or the other. But we're fishing back in waters where, golly, just nobody ever has fished before, and that's a thrill as much as catching the fish, I guess. Just being back in these beautiful, beautiful wild streams and rivers. And man, we'll do some salmon fishing in a little bit here, but this steelhead fishing is about all Forrest and I wanted for the first part of the day.
Yes, sir. Nice fish. I can't believe that he hadn't jumped for you.
Oh, boy.
Still catching him on that little white jig.
Yeah.
Boy, he's down deep in that
Boy,
hole.
he's stubborn, isn't he? I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on him.
Big steelhead. I can see his stripes. The big. Oh, yeah.
He's the biggest one yet.
I'll mean to give you bad news for us, but he's a long way from where you're at.
Sure is, and he don't like it up here either.
There it goes.
I think you're scaring him. Ooh. It's amazing how strong they are. Gee whiz, look at there how long he is.
Yeah. You know how you always talking about catching one as long as your leg?
Yeah.
You have caught one as long as your leg.
I don't have real heavy-duty equipment either.
No?
Come on, big boy. Come right on up here.
Oh, hey, that is an awful big fish. Now you did it.
Guess we need to get him up here on a shallow place, don't we? To
Yeah,
skid him in.
get him in the old landing hole down there. I'll tell you what, I've become an awful good lander here for us.
Get him in the catch pen here.
Yeah.
Right here would be a good place to skid him out.
Oh, my.
I might make him do that again. Let me get him up.
I don't know about you, but boy, that's
something to you.
the end of the world, isn't it?
Yeah. That's about where we are.
I
feels
think
like
it is.
too.
I think it is.
Well, it's quite a deal. You can imagine how few people, if any, have ever been here before.
That always goes through your mind, don't it?
And I feel like Lewis or Clark won.
Lewis and Wood.
Yeah.
We look more like Laurel and Hardy, I think.
Yeah, I suspect.
Tell you what, you get that, and then we may come up with a sandwich.
Could we eat lunch if I can get him in? His body flopped in that line when he turned in. I thought it broke.
Scares you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can you believe how far that trout has been in his lifetime?
No. I wonder how I like Japan. Did he pass there
Yeah.
once? I like that very much.
I think, there you go. Surely you get put. You know what? I'd like to fish. I think you could get more strikes from these fish on 4-pound line for them. I don't think you'd catch them.
I don't
I really
take time to do it.
You'd lose all your goodies.
You know that one there ran in the brush earlier and broke this 8-pound tail
Yeah.
line. I believe it's at 8. I'm not sure. A little better. He could get up there easier.
Here?
No, I say if he'd come
Oh,
back over
here we
he
go.
could get up there easier.
You've got him terribly tired.
Yeah, both of them.
But whenever he slips in that shallow water, he just kind of takes one.
I guess it's all right.
Oh, look at here. Oh, my goodness.
Isn't it a pretty thing?
And look at that. I guess he didn't swallow it either.
Yeah. Oh, he was a tough one, I'll tell you.
Old Peter's particular how you handle these fish, and, well, he should be, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't that
Boy,
something?
Say, here's the recipe for the Dunkin' dip that we were using at the first part of the show. Of course, the most important ingredient is the smoked salmon. And I want to interest you in smoking fish. Gosh, salmon is not the only kind of fish you can smoke. You can just about smoke any kind of fish, and you can build your own smoker too. Right here we have a neat little drawing of a smoker that anybody can build. The most important things about it is the fact that the fire is being built below the box that we have here in front of you, and all you have to do is funnel that smoke from the fire up to the box. Any kind of box will work, and you've got yourself a pretty nice little smoker. Again, any kind of fish will work. Now, up there at the lodge, Nimmo Bay Lodge, every evening when we came in, Craig Murray spent some time smoking fish for us. And we watched him and we paid attention to what we were doing. Very interesting guy. He has a beautiful place up there, and I'm going to let him talk to you just a little bit more about the smoking.
Craig, you know, it's always fun for me to look at something that has to do with cooking fish, and it's something that anybody can do, really. This is a neat little cooking setup. And really, before I even get into that, I'd like for you to go over your catch and release operation right here.
Being as that we've the first in North America to put on heli fishing,
Yeah.
and it's such an effective way to fish, we like to preserve our fish stocks, the ones we fish for. So we require the people catch a lot of fish. That's one of the things with the helicopter. You catch a lot of fish, but also we want you to release them. We don't want you to kill them. So I think the catching of the fish is the important thing.
That's right. Oh man, does that hit the nail on the head? Naturally, you never, you're already saying it right here, but you'd never want to keep a steelhead. But you do bring in some coho and salmon for people to smoke and take back home.
That's right. Yeah, we have a camp regulation that allows 1 coho per person per day. And the Chinook salmon, they're a total release in the rivers. However, on the saltwater, we do allow federal limits.
Okay, now then, to get on what I started with. In order to smoke these coho, or these salmon, or whatever you're smoking, nothing to it, is there?
Very simple.
What was you doing yesterday in the bucket down there with the fillets?
I was making a simple brine, a marinade for the fillets. Just a simple salt and brown sugar brine. Leave them overnight, wash them off with fresh water. It makes a nice glaze over the salmon, and then you put them in the smokehouse for 8 to 14 hours, depending on the size of the fillet.
Okay, what kind of wood are you cooking with?
We smoke with alder. It's a hardwood, and there's no oils or flavor to alder.
I'm gonna open your door right here. We've got a few fillets in here. And you're gonna leave them in here how long?
Oh, they'll be coming out tonight around 10 o'clock.
Ooh, boy, is that ever nice. Got about looks like 8 or 10 fillets in here right now. And you probably got another 6 hours to go on these, don't you?
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
coho salmon.
right. That smells so good. I just wonder if I put my microphone down there, people can smell that. You reckon?
Well, we're back on the stream fishing, and this is Peter Barrett, and Peter is an awfully interesting fellow. We're going to talk to him at length here in just a minute, but I did want to tell you, if you're just tuning in, that we are up in British Columbia fishing, and the way we got to Nimmo Bay is by going to, actually I drove to Vancouver, BC, across the border into Vancouver, and then we took Air BC from there up to Port Hardy on Victorian Island, but we could have crossed right there, taken a ferry and crossed at Vancouver over to the Big Island and drove up ourselves to Port Hardy. But anyway, when you get to Port Hardy, a float plane will take you across the bay. It doesn't take very long, and you're into some really super fishing of all kinds. We went over to Sullivan Bay, which is kind of the, boy, Peter did a dandy landing job there for me, didn't he? Well, that's okay. I get to fight him again. Get my money's worth out of this deal, Ed. Anyway, we went back into Sullivan Bay and stayed at Nimmo Bay Lodge. Craig McMurray, we just had him on there a second ago, and we give you information about where you get more info about that trip, because you might want to look into it. Great fishing, really great stream fishing. These streams, I haven't been mentioning any names because for the most part they have no names. They are really wild waters. People have not been up there and fished them before. Don't tell how long these steelhead have been up there having it all to themselves.
Well, you know, obviously the fishing is, well, I don't know if it's the #1 thing on this trip for me or not. Without that helicopter, this wouldn't be possible.
Well, you're right there. We really have it that way. We can get into some of the smallest spots that the only access is by helicopter. You couldn't take a mule or a horse team or
it'd take us all day to get up here, and then you have to turn around and go back by the time you got here. Peter, I know that the first thing people might think of when they think about the helicopter is the safety. Can you, and I was reassured within 30 seconds after talking to you and sitting in that machine, I was just reassured that it was a real treat just to be in it.
Well, Jerry, I've been flying for 18 and a half years, 12 of that with Okanagan helicopters and 6.5 with the Canadian military, and I've had extensive training courses, but Okanagan has the top mountain course, as far as I'm concerned, in the world. We train all sorts of pilots, military pilots. Now, we also do pilot checkouts twice a year, and there's no problem whatsoever. Some of those turns we were making coming down into the river, those were steeper than would be possible if, for instance, something was to happen to the machine. Never does. If we make a bank into some of those holes and come in and land it, there's no problem whatsoever. You can land at 0 airspeed, very gently. If you had a problem, we never had it happen.
I felt like I was owning the Lazy Boy.
Yeah, well, I'm glad.
Just suddenly whisked off the ground and sailed over these mountains.
Well, as Craig of the Lodge says, we put the fly into fishing.
You're a true fly fisherman, aren't you?
Well, I really like fishing. I like flying, but, you know, I get in that thing, I strap it on, but I'm looking, when I'm flying around, I'm saying, by golly, that looks like a good spot, got to try it out. You know?
We need to try that.
We love it.
Every time I think I've seen it all, I find another place that stands apart. Every time I think I've felt it all, I feel another breeze that warms my heart. Within me lies the questions and the answers are abound. I take advantage of each chance I have to look around. It warms my senses. I feel free to know there's always something new. It warms my senses. I believe that for the world my feelings true. Every time I think I've heard it all, I hear another song makes me sing. And oh, how I love to sing, the senses tell me so, about the things I feel, the things I see. Within me lies the questions and the answers are abound. I take advantage of each chance I have to look around. It warms my senses. I feel free to know there's always something new. It warms my senses. I believe that for the world my feelings true.
I think Forrest had a hard time believing that we were fishing in a stream 1 minute and then up on a snow-capped mountain eating lunch the next minute, 7,000 feet above where we had just fished. And look at those eagles flying down there in front of our helicopter as we come back down to earth. This time to do a little bit of salmon fishing. We're going to let those trout rest for just a little bit.
Gee whiz, look at the fish coming under that log.
Look here. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen so many fish other than a fish hatchery, huh?
No, I hadn't either. And not a rough fish in the bunch either.
No, sir.
All salmon of some kind, trout, I guess.
That's gang right there. Well, you know,
Look,
tell
going
me
there.
you brought your rod and reel with you.
Yeah, I thought we was going to fish. Look,
Look
please
here.
go in there.
Woo!
Hit off a few of them. Oh, boy. You just have to see it to believe it, wouldn't you?
Ain't that the truth? You tell somebody about this and it just might not sound like a big deal. I don't know. They're almost as much fun to watch as they are to catch.
Yeah, especially when we've caught as many as we have.
Huh?
Especially when we've caught as many as we have already.
You've got a point there.
That makes a difference. First morning, I wouldn't have said that at all.
No, I didn't want to see none at all.
Coming here. You tell what flavor they are there. Yeah, there's a pink
There's
one.
a big one. I guess I guess then they got that white belly that there's a pink salmon. Boy, he's a little guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad. I'm tired of that. Some big old, the strong ones around.
That a hit?
Oops.
Got away?
Got away. Many a day when I would have been heart sick if a fish that size had got away in the year.
Sold up, wouldn't have talked to anybody for 30 minutes. He is a funny looking critter. Let me get on this side of you. I think I can help you a lot. How about that?
Yeah.
You
Thanks.
something?
Yeah, it sure is.
Strange guy.
Get all bent out of shape when they get here in the river about this time of year, don't
I
they?
thought you catching him did that to him.
Teeth. No, I don't think so. Look at the teeth on him. Going out.
Peter was saying they do that to fight off the other male.
Yeah.
I don't know why their back gets like that. There's a lot about them I don't know, but I just know that they're an amazing thing in the outdoors here.
Why are you fooling him? I want to go out there and try to catch that big one that we almost got.
Come on, bud. Mr. Salmon. Oh boy, Forrest, they talk about them not feeding it. They're grabbing it for some reason, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know why they are, but
I guess it's out of instinct.
they just are.
Whatever. Old Peter's down there working one over. That's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
If you think that's exciting, though, it's my turn to fly the helicopter. That's what you're going to really like.
The season is not open for you to fly the helicopter.
Forrest, you know, seems like been around the world, finally getting to British Columbia, haven't we?
Yeah, we've been to a lot of good places, but I'll tell you what, this is one of the most exciting ones that I've ever been to.
You know, it's hard to explain, isn't it?
Yeah, you really can't explain it. The scenery is so great, and gosh, the fishing is second to none, it would appear to me. We caught everything we wanted to catch here, and it's just so beautiful.
You know, you get in the helicopter, and they allow you to talk in that helicopter, but it's so breathtaking that you just can't, I just can't quit looking. I have nothing to say.
Just riding around is exciting. I could enjoy just driving probably all day long. But I'd have to confess, when we pass one of these pretty little pools, I get to kind of want to stop for a minute.
Oh boy, it has been something. And Forrest, I tell you what, I know that you're a busy man traveling all over the country promoting Ranger boats, but I am tickled to death. Doggone, we've been a long time trying to get around to getting off fishing together.
Yeah, we sure have. This is the first time I've really seriously fished in Canada, any place. You and I fished up in New York or above New York one time. But it certainly is great. And the thing that impresses me an awful lot, Jerry, is the attitude the people here that run the lodge have toward conserving their fish.
Isn't that something?
They just go to great lengths to release the fish alive and take good care of them. And
Peter thinks they're his fish.
Yeah, he does. They may be, too. I think they should be, because he'll sure take care of them. And that makes me feel good. I hate to see people abuse our resources, and they certainly aren't doing that here. And the helicopter ride is well, it's just kind of the icing on the cake, I guess you'd say. And it allows us to get to a bunch of places that you just couldn't possibly get to otherwise. And one might think that because they were using a helicopter, we're going to destroy the whole fishery, but with Pete's attitude, that isn't going to happen.
Boy, that is the truth. Well, I can't think of a better person I would have enjoyed having up here with me take this in than you, Forrest.
Well, that's kind. I appreciate you asking me so much, and I am delighted that you shared some of your time with me here in a beautiful place like this.
I've been waiting for this chance.
When you would go fishing with me, we will be
a sight to see. Me and my fishing buddy.
Hey kids, one of the biggest thrills I ever had in my fishing life was making a fly as I was a youngster and catching a fish on it. Now I don't mean to tell you that we're going to teach you how to tie flies today, but I want to show you the parts of a fly and maybe get your interest in tying one up a little bit. They're pretty simple. As you can see right here, we have the body of the fly. The wings are pretty self-explanatory. There's always two of them. Each one of these parts of the body have a specific use in the fly, either making it sink, making it sit upright, making it do this or that. And of course, here is the hackle at the end of the fly. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about them, see if I can't get your interest up in tying a fly.
Was you talking about a cricket a minute ago?
We'll probably make one.
Haven't you got one in there that looks like a cricket? Which one? Do you see a cricket in there, Kevin? You know what? I bet we could take Norman's tail and put it in the vise and make ourselves a cricket, couldn't we? How was he putting that little bug in the vise there, Kevin? Was you watching him close enough? You think he could tie one of them?
Maybe.
Say, I want you to be aware of the fact that you can buy tie flying kits through catalogs or down at your tackle store. They're really available. A lot of the materials that you use to tie a fly with is available right up at the dime store, but you can get yourself a nice little kit at the store and get started yourself. Now, Joe Butler, a terrific fly tyer from Denver, Colorado, agreed to come by here and spend a little bit of time with the kids. Boy, he taught them a lot. I'm sure these kids will go away from here wanting to make a fly on their own.
Joe, have you seen Rusty's rod and reel?
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty neat.
Is that some rod and reel? That is okay. I seen him catch some bluegill last summer.
I'll bet.
A dandy fisherman.
Oh, I'll tell you, Rusty, that's a better outfit than I started off with.
Hey, Kevin, what do you think trout eat?
Salmon eggs and corn.
Salmon, eggs, and corn. That's a pretty good start, I tell you. Well, you're right, they do. But they also eat a lot of bugs and a lot of things that you don't see on top of the water. Have you got a nymph right there handy, Joe?
Yeah, we got a whole box right here.
See that little guy? See him, Rusty? You know what that is? That's a bug that grows on the bottom of the river. You know, you're talking about fishing the Red River? This grows right up there underneath the rocks, right, Joe? And then how long does it stay on the bottom, Joe?
Most of the insects that we're aware of have a 2 to 3 year life cycle, and 95% of the life cycle is spent underwater as a nymph.
Joe Butler is talking a little bit about bugs themselves, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the construction of a bug, a fake bug, a fly. These aren't really as hard to tie as they look like. As you can see right here, the body is some kind of dubbing. That in that particular case it was peacock herl. All of these parts are secured with tying silk or just regular thread. The body right here is tied on the tail. The thread is tied on the secured the body and then the wings, and then the hackle, which makes up the head of the fly, or this particular fly anyway, is just made out of feathers. Now I don't want to to get you thinking that this is easy to do. It takes some time to learn how to do it. But man, as I said right at the top, it's really a interesting thing to do. And I've found that tying flies are a lot of fun, even if you don't use the flies that you have tied. But to make your own flies, learn how to tie them, make a collection of them, and fish with them is a very exciting thing. I want to thank Joe Butler right here. Joe is going to spend some more time with us on some fishing from out in his part of the country a little bit later on. But he really was great with the kids and made up some flies for them. Really, you know, let them look in on exactly what had to be done. Hey, kids, got to hurry on down the line here. Let me show you a picture of Kip Shively from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with a string of bluegill that he caught on Sebago Lake way out on the East Coast. Man, I've done some fishing out there. And there's Alan Marshall, Sacramento, California, and he's got a couple of nice trout from the streams in Northern California.
Told you I'd fool around and eat all that dip, didn't I? Had no business doing that. Say, you know, regardless of what kind of a good fish cooking recipe I give you, if you don't take care of your fish before you cook them, right after you catch them, regardless of how good a cook you are, they're not going to taste as well. Don't take a dead fish and carry it around on a stringer. Ice it immediately, or else dress it. That's even better yet. And then if you can, you know, it's a lot better to prepare your fish, to cook your fish before you have to freeze them. But if you take care of them, boy, they sure taste a lot better. A couple of letters, a couple of quick letters, as a matter of fact. Mr. and Mrs. Chuck Pio from Salem, Oregon, wants to know about suspended bass. He says, contrary to popular belief, the sun does shine in Oregon. And as a matter of fact, every now and then the wind doesn't blow. So he has some problems with suspended bass. I seem like a broken record when I start talking about fishing with jigs and grubs and light line, but that is a perfect way to catch suspended bass. When they're hanging out there in water that's, you know, they're really difficult to find, but boy, that's a good way to catch them, I'm telling you. Another letter from Lowell Huffman from Santa Maria, California. Lowell wants to know about locating crappie. He does a lot of trolling for them. I will tell you this, that as you're trolling for crappie, if you catch one in one place, and you troll around and you catch another one in that same general area, you need to stop and fish with some minnows in that place, or fish with some crappie jigs or crappie baits, because crappie normally aren't all spread out. They'll be in one particular place, and actually trolling is a good way to locate them. They're going to be around some brush and some cover somewhere. His letter was really about locating all kinds of fish, wanted more information on locating fish, which gives me a great lead in here. Lets me tell you that in the weeks coming, Larry Colombo is going to spend some time with us, and we're going to talk about reading maps and reading depth finders. We're going to try our darndest to really get into detail about finding fish, and I think that'll kind of help you out. I hope you enjoyed that fishing today. That was one of the best fishing I've ever been on, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share it with you. We'll see you next week. My goodness, we're going to British Columbia, do a little salmon fishing, a little trout fishing. When I was up there, I brought home some smoked salmon. Well, as a matter of fact, we've been smoking fish of all kinds ourselves, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. But before I do that, I wanted to tell you that we took some of this salmon, and I say we, my wife did actually, and made a fantastic dip for it. And I'm crazy about chips and a real good dip. I've got this on peppers right here, and this is salmon dip. It is made with cream cheese, a little bit of sour cream, some bacon fried and crunched up in there. And matter of fact, Debbie put a little bit of the grease to add some seasoning and flavor. She put that in there too, and then crumbled up some smoked salmon and mixed it all together. And what a fantastic dip this makes. I can't tell you just how great this is. I'll probably eat every bit of that all by myself, and I know I shouldn't do that. For lack of a better name, I'm calling this Dunkin' dip, because I call old Debbie Dunkin' about half the time. So some salmon Dunkin' dip today and some fantastic trout fishing. Oh my goodness, Forrest Wood is going with me to British Columbia. Let's take a little bit of break right here. I'm going to head down by the lake, lean up a tree, and eat a little bit of salmon dip and get ready for Oh, Peter's particular how you handle these fish, and well, he should be, isn't he?
Yeah.
Jerry McInnes has been taking America fishing for over 20 years. Let's join him for a visit to this week's fishing hole. Brought to you by Eagle Claw. When you buy Eagle Claw fishing tackle, you get quality. Mercury Outboards, a fishing legend. Put the legend behind you. DuPont, maker of Strand and new ultra-sensitive co-filament prime fishing line. Ranger Boats, we still build them one boat at a time. Steel, the world's largest selling chainsaw. With Steel, we're talking tough. Winnebago, the original and still the best. Be sure it's a Winnebago. By Humminbird, the ultimate in fish finding technique. Overcast 15, the only sunscreen formulated especially for fishermen. Magic Bait, a real catfish bait, not a gimmick.
Hey, Jerry McInnes here, and what a fishing trip we have for you today. My goodness, great trout fishing.
I don't know just how much experience you've had with steelhead fishing. I haven't had an awful lot myself. I have had enough to rank a steelhead as one of my all-time favorite fish. I talk about them all the time, and I know that, you know, they're not available to everyone all across the country. They're just on the coastal areas in the Great Lakes. They have to have some cold streams, and then they have to have some big water to go to from their cold streams. Today we're going to British Columbia to do some steelhead fishing. Some of the best, well, maybe the best I have ever done. Now that's Peter Barrett. They're helping me land this big steelhead, probably 8, 9 pound, well, 7, 8 pound fish. And Peter Barrett is a helicopter pilot. Now why I would need a helicopter pilot, I'll explain to you a little bit later on. Oh, we have a wild fishing trip for you. It's getting more interesting all the time, isn't it? That is a great fish, though. We're going to spend a lot of time chasing him today up in British Columbia. Now, the place where we're fishing is called the Nimmo Bay Lodge. Now, we are slipping up into a part of the world I've never been to in my life. And to get there, you can drive up Victoria Island, which is just off, and you spend the day going back and forth to one steelhead fishing hole after the other. Now, Forrest Wood from Flippin, Arkansas is along with me. He's well, he loves the trout fish just as much as I do, and well, and this was his first experience with any salmon and steelhead trout. But I'm sure you're going to be able to tell that he gets as big a kick out of it as I do.
You reach them from here, all right?
Yeah, go ahead. It's tough to cast from way back here.
Huh?
It's tough to get your bait back.
Gee whiz, look at him going out of there.
I saw him swim up by here.
Did you?
Yeah. Looks like a coho to me, Forrest, but I don't know. You sure caught him in a pretty place. Oh goodness, he's gone crazy. Off of Vancouver, you can get from Vancouver over to the island, go up Highway 19 to Port Hardy. From Port Hardy, you're taken over into the Sullivan Bay area. Back over on the coastline there from Port Hardy, there's all kinds of steelhead fishing, many streams and many, well, you know, it's just one of the famous steelhead fishing areas in the world. It's beautiful too. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Now, we took a float plane from Port Hardy over to Nimmo Bay, which is located in Sullivan Bay, and Craig Murray runs the Nimmo Bay Lodge. And this little old lodge is kind of stuck back there in the wilderness, where just half a dozen or so fishermen spend the week chasing not only the steelhead, but the salmon as well, out in the big water. Today's story is about stream fishing, but you have to be aware that we are right next to some big water fishing for salmon too. And now the helicopter.
in order to get back to these streams and these areas where we're going to steelhead fish, and incidentally we're probably steelhead fishing in waters where no one has ever, well, not many people have done it before because you just can't get there. Well, these folks offer what they call heli fishing. And you take your helicopter and you leave the lodge in the morning